Hello friends, in this video I will discuss about knowledge representation in AI. What is basically important thing about knowledge representation in artificial intelligence and why it's required. So these are following contents which I will cover in this lecture. First one is introduction of knowledge representation. Second is types of knowledge and what is basically relationship between knowledge and intelligence and what is difference between knowledge and intelligence also, and what is artificial intelligence life cycle, or sorry, knowledge cycle, and what approaches we should follow to get more benefit from the knowledge representation. So firstly, when you talking about introduction, so as we know, humans are best at understanding, reasoning and interpreting knowledge, and whatever question raised in front of human can easily understand and also can find the solution whatever the ability according to that situation. So human has knowledge, and as per their knowledge they perform various action in real world. But think how machine do all the things. This comes under knowledge representation and reasoning, because there are many machine, and if raise a question, machine is going to give you answer. So have ever you thought how machine is going to responding against your question? Means machine contain knowledge about that things, that's why they are giving you answer. So that process is known as knowledge representation in machines. So hence we can describe knowledge representation as following. Knowledge representation and reasoning is the part of artificial intelligence which concern with AI agent thinking and how thinking contributes to intelligent behavior of agent. So you can also say in a, you know, in a layman language, knowledge representation is just collection of knowledge, and that part is main responsible for how AI agent is going to respond according to your question, means, and how artificial intelligence is going to behave if anybody raise a question or anybody have any query and he is supposed to get answer from the AI. It is responsibility of knowledge representation to represent information about the real world so that a computer can understand and can utilize this knowledge to solve the complex real world problems such as diagnosis a medical condition or communicating with human in natural language. And knowledge representation is also a way to represent knowledge in artificial intelligence, because in earlier slide I have mentioned if this is collection of knowledge. If our knowledge representation or KB means knowledge base is very much good enough, so that artificial intelligence system can handle any type of question or any type of situation. Knowledge representation is not just storing data into some database, but is also enable an intelligent machine to learn from what that knowledge and experiences so that it can behave intelligently like a human. So what to represent? So following are the kind of knowledge which needs to be represented in AI system. Object. So all the fact about object in our world domain, as like guitar contains a string, trumpet are brass instruments, car has some wheels, steering. So whenever you are discussing about object, so we must store all the facts about object, so our system can give answer in a very correct and a very real meaning. So it's important. First one is object, second is event. So event are action which occur in the world. Suppose India won the World Cup in 2011, so that event should be also considered or also stored in our system so we can get answer. Performance is describe behavior which involves knowledge about how to do things. Meta knowledge, it is knowledge about what we know. Facts are the truth about the real world and what we represent. On knowledge base, so the central component of knowledge base agent is the knowledge base, and it is represented as KB. The knowledge base is a group of sentences. Means here sentences is technical term. In layman language we can say that this is collection of knowledge, and by which knowledge machine is going to respond and going to give your answer whatever question and whatever query has been raised. So these are following kinds of knowledge which needs to be represented in any artificial intelligence system. First one is object. So all the facts about object in our world should be stored. Event are the action which occur in the world. Performance is describe behavior which involve knowledge about how to do things. Meta knowledge, it is knowledge about what we know. Facts are the truth about the real world and what we represent. Knowledge base, the central component of the knowledge base agent is the knowledge base. So here we are discussing types of knowledge. So there are various type of knowledge. Okay, first one is declarative knowledge, structural knowledge, heuristic knowledge, meta knowledge. So knowledge is awareness gained by experiences of facts, data, and situation. So following are the types of knowledge in artificial intelligence. First one is declarative knowledge. So declarative knowledge is to know about something. It include concepts, facts, and objects. It is also called descriptive knowledge and expressed in declarative sentences. It is simpler than procedural language. So basically declarative knowledge is knowledge which is required to know about something. Procedural knowledge means it is also known as imperative knowledge. Personal knowledge is a type of knowledge which is responsible for knowing how to do something. So in declarative knowledge we are going to just know about something, and procedural knowledge is a process which is responsible for knowing how to do something. So it can be directly applied to any task. It includes roles, strategy, procedure, agenda. Procedure knowledge depends on the task on which it can applied. Meta knowledge, so knowledge about the other type of knowledge is called meta knowledge. Heuristic knowledge is representing knowledge of some expert in a field of subject. A heuristic is a technique to solve a problem faster than classic method, or to find approximate solution when classic method cannot. So this kind of shortcut we often trade one of the optimality, completeness, accuracy, and precision of speed. So whenever we discuss about heuristic means we are talking about accuracy of the system. So heuristics are method for solving problems in a quick way that deliver result and that is sufficient enough to be useful in a given time constraint. So when we are discussing about by getting quick knowledge and good knowledge and within a time constraint, so heuristic knowledge is best method. Now structure knowledge. So structure knowledge is basic knowledge to problem solving. It describes a relationship between various concepts such as kind of, part of, and grouping of something. And also it describes the relationship that exists between concept or object. So what is basically relationship between knowledge and intelligence? So knowledge of real world plays a vital role in intelligence, and same for creating artificial intelligence. So knowledge plays an important role in demonstrating intelligent behavior in AI agent, because if your AI system has not so much sufficient, so your AI agent is not going to behave in a good manner, because if there is a limited resources, there is a limited knowledge, so no people is going to satisfy from your knowledge, from your artificial intelligence system. So artificial intelligence system must contain a lot of knowledge about various things. Means your knowledge should be strong, then our system is going to respond quickly in and with accuracy. So an agent is only able to accurately act on some input when he has some knowledge or experience about that input. So let's suppose if you meet some person who is speaking in a language and which you do not know, then how you able to act on that? So the same thing applies to intelligent behavior of the agent. So knowledge is required. So this is a simple diagram which represent relationship between knowledge and intelligence. So as we can see in the diagram, there is one decision maker which act by sensing the environment and using knowledge. But if knowledge part will not present, then it cannot display intelligent behavior. So this is very easy diagram to describe how how relation knowledge and intelligence dependent on each other, because here you can see this is part decision maker. And what happened, decision maker works on sensing the environment, means from here decision maker is getting output, and if this part is not available, then how decision major maker is going to take decision, because all the decision depend upon the knowledge what the system has knowledge, what a person has knowledge. Suppose in last slide there is example, suppose there is a person X and someone is saying something and person X is not able to understand what that person is saying, then how he is going to act on that particular thing. So this is same happen with artificial intelligence system. If artificial intelligence system has not knowledge or not knowledge base, then how the system is going to act? So basically, if there is a knowledge, then your system is going to react. If there is no knowledge base, so your system is not going to respond in a correct way. So for taking action or giving output, knowledge is must required in intelligent system. And by this diagram you can easily understand how much knowledge is important in any artificial intelligence system. So when you discuss about artificial intelligence knowledge cycle, so an artificial intelligence system has the following component for displaying intelligent behavior: perceptions, learning, knowledge representation and reasoning, planning and education. So this is basically a simple diagram ki how these things are correlated to each other. So here this diagram showing how AI system can interact with the real world and what components help it to show intelligence. So AI system has a perception component by which it retrieves information from its environment, means perception. We are discussing about first block, the main responsibility of first block to retrieve the information from the its environment. It can be visual, audio, text or another form of sensory input. The learning component is responsible for learning from data captured by perception. In this complete cycle, the main component are the knowledge representation and reasoning. So these two components are involved in showing the intelligence in machine like human, and these components are independent with each other but also coupled together. The planning and execution depend on the analysis of knowledge representation and reasoning. So first component is perception, the main responsibility of perception to retrieve the information from the environment, and the learning is responsible for learning from data captured by the perception. According to that, reasoning or knowledge representation. Knowledge representation is knowledge, or reasoning means how machine is going to think, and then we get output. So approaches to knowledge representation. So there are mainly four approaches to knowledge representation which are given below. First one is simple relation knowledge. It is the simplest way of sorting facts which uses a relational method, and each fact about set up the object uh, set out systematically in column. And this approach of knowledge representation is famous in database system, because if you have even worked on database system to when you are going to design, so generally database design is like this. Yes, there is a id and column name, something like that, and then we put information in particular table. And second is inheritable knowledge. So here we are talking about inheritance, how things are inherited to each other. So in the inheritable knowledge approach, all data must be sorted into hierarchy of classes. All classes should be arranged in a generalized form or a hierarchical manner. So in this picture you can easily see how data is arranged. In this approach we apply inheritance property. Elements inherit values from other member of a class. This approach contains inheritable knowledge which show a relation between instance and class, and it is called instance relation. Every individual frame can represent the collection of attributes and its value. In this approach, objects and values are represented in box nodes. So here in diagram you can see this is box, and we use arrow which point from object to their value. So here you can see. So now one inferential knowledge. Inferential knowledge approaches represent knowledge in form of formal logic, and this approach can be used to derive more facts, and it's guaranteed correction also. So example, let's suppose there are two elements. Marcus is man, all men are mortal, so then it can be represented as man in brackets Marcus, and this is symbol to represent the thing. Now last one is procedural knowledge. So procedural knowledge approaches uses small program and codes which describe how to do a specific thing and how to proceed. In this approach, one important rule is used, which is if then rule. In this knowledge, we can use various coding languages such as Lisp. Lisp is most famous language which is used in artificial intelligence now, and Prolog is same. So we can easily represent heuristic or domain specific knowledge using this approach. But it is not necessary that we can represent all cases in this approaches. So the main advantage of procedural knowledge is to represent our information in case of if and then. So there are some requirement for knowledge representation system. uh, First one is accuracy. So KR system should have the ability to represent all kind of required knowledge with accuracy. uh, Inferential advocacy. KR system should have ability to manipulate the representational structure to produce new knowledge corresponding to existing structure. Inferential efficiency, the ability to direct the inferior knowledge mechanism into the most productive direction by storing appropriate guides. Acquisitional efficiency, the ability to acquire the new knowledge and easily using automatic method. So this is all about the introduction of knowledge representation and relationship between knowledge intelligence, and how AI knowledge cycle works, and what are types of knowledge. So thank you for watching this. Thank you.